Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday, December 4th. Colder air has returned to the mid-Atlantic region following probably the mildest day of the week on Monday. High temperatures yesterday reached the 50s in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, much closer to the 40-degree mark this afternoon, and it looks like the chill will remain right through the rest of the work week and into the upcoming weekend. The next storm of significance to monitor will approach Southern California or even farther south, Baja California, by Thursday night or Friday, likely to reemerge over southern Texas by the early part of the weekend and then push off the Carolina coastline by the latter part of the weekend. What impact it ultimately has on the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor is still unclear, but certainly the threat remains on the table. It looks like from that particular kind of a position and storm track, there will be significant snow in places like Oklahoma all the way eastward to North Carolina and perhaps even into southern Virginia the way it stands right now. Again, farther to the north and east, still a little unclear, still several days to figure that out. Let's take a look at the latest surface map here, and basically cold high pressures in control and below normal temperatures extend virtually from coast to coast this morning, Tuesday morning. A north to northwest flow of air into the mid-Atlantic region. There will be kind of a couple of reinforcing cold fronts pushing through the mid-Atlantic region over the next few days. Could set off a few snow showers later tomorrow afternoon and then again later in the week. And again, it reinforces the chill will remain below normal here in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, right through the rest of the week and into the upcoming weekend. Meanwhile, storminess starting to show up here in terms of frontal system over the eastern part of the Pacific Ocean. And again, there'll be low pressure right in this region come Thursday night or Friday, headed towards Southern California, the Baja region of California, likely reemerges over southern Texas by the early part of the weekend and then pushes off the Carolina coastline later in the weekend. Exactly how far north it goes at that point, still a little unclear. There's room for it to push farther to the north compared to what the models are currently suggesting. That certainly has been the case many situations in the past several years where the models 5-6 days ahead of time tend to have a little bit of a bias to the south and east in terms of east coast storms. As you get closer to the event, they tend to push a little bit farther to the north and west. Well, let's once again take a look at the FV3 version of the GFS model. This is from 0Z last night, starting off with lots of below normal heights. This is the 500 millibar height anomaly pattern. And again, basically a coast-to-coast cold wave, below normal temperatures virtually from coast to coast as we begin the day on Tuesday. Let's move forward in 6-hour increments. Still below normal heights throughout much of the eastern U.S. And here we go. By the middle part of the week, notice this deep upper level low headed towards Southern California, the Baja. This is Baja California right here, headed towards that region. And it goes far south. Low pressure ultimately reemerges over Texas, probably the southern part of Texas by the early part of the weekend. And this is the area then to monitor as that system moves from Texas towards Georgia and then ultimately off the Carolina coastline. Here we are by Monday morning. This upper level low still on the map come Monday morning. Several days to go before we know for sure what's going to happen, but it certainly will still be in the picture at the end of the weekend and into the early part of next week. Well, let's now look at the surface forecast maps from the 0Z run of the FV3 version of the GFS. Again, isobar pattern here, somewhat familiar. We've had a lot of cold air masses into the mid-Atlantic region with northerly flow of air or northwesterly flow of air. It'll certainly be brisk today and noticeably colder than yesterday. And basically the chill sticks around. And here we have a little bit of an interesting frontal system, a reinforcing cool front as we begin the day on Wednesday. It'll cause some snow shower activity. Entirely possible that some of those snow showers make it into D.C. and Philadelphia, perhaps even into New York City during midday and Wednesday afternoon hours. Again, a reinforcing chill in the air here, and then another reinforcing cool frontal system approaches later in the week, Thursday night, Friday time frame. Meanwhile, that's when surface low pressure heads towards Southern California, Baja California. And we'll see here that ultimately reemerges as a strong storm system early in the weekend, very early Saturday over southern Texas. Lots of snow will break out in this part of the country here in this time period from Oklahoma all the way to North Carolina. Significant snow likely from this event, maybe even into southern Virginia. Again, still a little unclear as to if that'll happen in the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor, but the Route I-40 states here from Oklahoma to North Carolina, even into southern Virginia, very likely to end up with some significant snows. Farther to the south, significant rain, maybe even a threat of some severe weather associated with the strong storm system. Here we are now by Sunday morning on the doorstep of D.C. from this particular model run. Low pressure headed from Georgia to the Carolina coastline. Notice this cold high pressure anchored to the north and northwest. That's a great setup for maintaining cold air here in the I-95 corridor, increasing the chances for accumulating snow as long as that storm system pushes farther to the north. And again, from this point, it's right on the edge of D.C. And still does not make it as far north as Philadelphia and New York City from this particular model run. This is now Sunday night and even Monday morning, still sitting right off the North Carolina coastline. Here is a strong low pressure area and anchoring cold air to the north. A couple of different high pressure systems. Still some time and certainly some room for this system to push farther to the north, and we'll of course monitor that possibility over the next several days here at PerspectaWeather.com. That's it for now. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.